Hey guys, welcome back to another F1 2021 video. We're getting straight into this one. We were supposed to be doing round 3 of season 3 in this video. After the last 2 rounds, I felt that the difficulty was a bit low, so I bumped it up. We ended up taking it, I think it was 50, which is like medium, and we ended up putting it up to 60, I do believe. Yeah, we'll take a look here. So we started at 50, we went all the way up to 60, which puts it into the hard difficulty. Unfortunately, we ended up having a really bad time. We ended up finishing last, other than the 2 DNFs, 2 laps down, which drops us down the driver's standings and also drops us down into 6th in the constructor standings as well. So we skipped that one. That was a horrible race. We're now going to round 4, Spanish Grand Prix, Catalunya. We have decreased the difficulty, down to 53, just to see how that goes. Practice felt kind of good, like it felt like we were doing okay, so I think that it might be a decent difficulty setting for us at the moment. The jump from 50 to 60 was quite a big spike. I mean, it did go from medium to hard, so it was quite a lot. But yeah, so we're going to see how we go on 53. So qualifying, our best lap came early on in the qualifying session. We did get held up a tiny little bit here by Zhou. A little bit of contact there. We do manage to get around him with some ease. Not too bad, but that would have affected our time a little bit. We managed to get through there perfectly fine. Come out the other side okay. Last couple of corners, well, last sort of 3 corners here, the final chicane, and then around the last right hand, and we run a little bit wide, but not too bad. Coming down start finish line, and we get a 1:17.8, which at the time was good enough for 5th, but after everyone else did their best laps, we dropped down to 10th. Michael finishing in 8th. We're only we're less than a 10th behind him in the same car, so I feel like maybe this is the difficulty we need to be at. Not quite sure what the best tyre compound is for this track, even though I've done it 2 seasons already. But yeah, I think the difficulty should be good for us. Hamilton starting on pole as per usual, and we'll just see how we go in the race.
Welcome along then to what promises to be another fascinating Spanish Grand Prix. A race which saw Max Verstappen win on his first ever appearance with the Red Bull team in 2016. This after the dramatic coming together of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg on the first lap. Will we see more moments for the scrapbook here today? It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. Now, Anthony Davidson, I wonder, might we be in for some early pit stops today from the midfield teams, all trying to put some pressure on or disrupting things for the leaders up front?
If you're in the middle of the pack, you got your own race to run. I don't think they're going to be thinking about causing trouble up front. However, closer to the head of the pack, don't be surprised to see some split strategies. If you're running 2nd and 3rd, for example, bringing one car in for an undercut while leaving the other one out there longer can put a lot of pressure on the leader and maybe force them into an error.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Leclerc, George Russell and Sainz, Verstappen, Michael Schumacher, Norris and the captain.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Sure thing, Jeff. I mean, it can't be any worse than last round. So, being in the top 10, we're going to have to start on the softs, 5-lap stint on the softs, and then 2 stints on the mediums. I was playing around with the different compounds to see which would be better, but mediums seem to be the way to go at this point. 5 red lights, we're off and away, P10. Myself and Schumacher are in between the 2 McLarens, and now that's all gone. Bad start from us. We've dropped down to 13th, but we're going to run right down the inside, right up alongside Norris and Ocon. We end up going onto the grass a little bit, but we end up coming out in P9. So we've gained a position there. Schumacher has also gained a position getting ahead of Verstappen. He's now up into P7 on the inside of Sainz. He's moving up into 6th now. We go onto the grass, we go a bit wide. We almost collect Norris on the way back onto the track. And now we're alongside Ocon. So we've now dropped back down into P10. Just got to settle the nerves a little bit. Get the car running properly on the track. These are slightly worn softs from probably from qualifying. I think they picked them from the qualifying laps as opposed to like free practice, but yeah, so slightly worn softs as we get our first track limit warning. We haven't even finished the first lap, so that's not good from us. Just got to try and calm down a little bit and try and get the car under control. We take that chicane relatively well. Not a good exit out of that final turn there. 128.1, so we are quite a ways behind Hamilton, but that's to be expected on the first lap. It was a messy first lap.
Box, we're coming in this lap.
Okay, so we're coming into the pits this lap. Nothing has changed until just now as Ricciardo comes flying past us. And Ocon makes a big dive down the inside as well, but he doesn't have the speed coming through that first chicane, and we do a little zigzag around to get to the inside, but he comes a little bit of contact there as he comes back up the outside. A good little battle here with Ocon, looking for a move up the inside there, but we're not close enough. We can't get it done, so now we drop down into P12. We are coming into the pits this lap, as Jeff said at the beginning of the lap, to go on to a set of mediums. These soft tyres are pretty worn down now, losing a bit of grip, just making it a bit harder to get a good exit out of these corners. A little bit of a slide there as we head up into the slow right here, another little slide there. So yeah, definitely a good time to come into the pits as Tsunoda comes up the inside, but he just doesn't have the track position. Heading into the chicane, we end up taking that position back easily. We have to cut back across. Oh, sorry, it wasn't Tsunoda, it was Gasly into the pit lane to go on to mediums. It looks like most of the other drivers have already made stops and gone on to mediums.
One stop left in our strategy.
Okay, so one more stop. We're P22, 6 seconds behind Mazepin, but we're on a fresh set of mediums, which already feel so much better than the softs. I have found over the last couple of seasons the mediums I feel as we got a little bit wide. I feel like the mediums generally do handle a little bit better on some of these tracks. Obviously the softs, as we go right down this long DRS straight along the outside of Mazepin, we go a bit wide into this tight left hairpin,
Michael in the pits.
but we managed to get the position anyway as Schumacher's headed into the pits, and he's come back out on mediums ahead of us still, so he was quite a ways in front of us. Lap 9 now, so we've only made that one move on Mazepin in the last few laps, but well, the last couple of laps I should say. But these medium compound tyres have definitely felt a lot better on this track than the softs, so I think maybe we stick with the mediums. We go all over the road, onto the grass even, to get the inside line at that hairpin. We get ahead of Zhou, but that was a messy move there to get that done. As we have a yellow flag now, as it looks like one of the cars, looks like Giovinazzi's come off, so he's now out of this session. I am assuming a mechanical failure, as he's just pulled off to the side. And there it is, the smoke bellowing out the back of his car there. He almost collects the McLaren on the way around that corner. Luckily no damage there for any of the drivers. As now the two Schumachers, father and son, battling it out ahead of us. It looks like Michael might have a better line here, and he does. gets around Mick, and we end up coming around him as well. So both Cross GT racing cars making a move there on the young Haas driver. So now we are probably just going to follow Schumacher along, let him pull us along, because he does have, it looks like he's got the pace. As we are now making a move on Lundgaard, we go either side of him, and all he sees is a blur of silver and purple from the Cross GT racing team come flying either side of him. And we've both moved up another position, so we seem to have a little bit of a gearbox issue there. Hopefully that doesn't cause too many problems for the rest of the race. Lap 12, so we've still got 2/3 of this race to go. Plenty of time to make moves up the order as we almost clip our teammate there. We go onto the grass. We let him go ahead of us. We're going to pit a little bit later now. Going to stretch these tyres out a little bit longer. As Schumacher goes around the outside of Schwartzman, and we cross over to the inside. Looks like we've made this little pincer attack work out for us. Both cars just taking each competitor ahead of us one at a time.
Okay, touch wood. Seems like the fault has resolved itself.
So we did have a slight ERS issue as Lewis Hamilton is now out of the session. Our race leader is out, and we take a look as the smoke bellows out. He ends up going off the track here, and he comes back on, and Bottas actually has to go wide there. So mechanical failure there, but he came off the track to retire, and then he almost came back on, taking out Bottas. So I don't know what happened there, but that could have been a disaster.
There's an incident in the next part of the track. No overtaking through the yellow flags.
Yep, so there is the car of Hamilton. So we're trying to make a move on Ocon again. He just comes flying up the outside, heading into that corner, and brakes really late to stay ahead of us. So Schumacher is ahead of him, but we are now stuck behind Ocon, who came out of the pits in between us. So he's broken us up again, but, well, not again, he's broken us up, but that's fine. We can get back ahead of him, let Schumacher run ahead, and we go past Ocon.
2.5 seconds.
2.5 seconds to Schumacher now. Past Ocon, easy as you like with the DRS on this long straight. Now let's try and see if we can catch up to Schumacher, but it is getting hard to catch up to him, as it looks like a lot of the other drivers now are on the hards.
Coming in for a stop.
Okay, so Michael's heading into the pits.
We're boxing this lap.
Either going on to another set of mediums or possibly a set of hards. I'm assuming he's probably going to be going on to hard. Or no, he could run the mediums. He could run the mediums to the end of the race. But the AI looks like they're all going on to hards, so he'll potentially be going on to the hards as well, as we now come into the pits for our second pit stop. So we actually stayed out that extra lap, I think. We stayed out an extra lap
Complete, go now.
because we did have,
Complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
so I felt like we had the pace and we could have stayed out that extra lap and got a bit further ahead. We didn't really gain a whole lot of time, so I don't know if it was really beneficial to stay out, but we have come back onto the track behind our teammate. So now Cross GT Racing 11th and 12th. But Schumacher's pace has dropped a bit in this stint. He's on another set of mediums, so he should have the same pace, but he just doesn't seem to have the same pace he had before. So I don't know if maybe he's got some damage to the car, potentially. If it was front wing damage, I would assume that it would that they would call them into the pits to change it. Usually that's what the AI does, so if they've got front wing damage.
P11.
We got hit past him relatively easily, and we are gaining time on him, but quite easily. We're now over a second ahead of him. And it just feels like there's something not quite right with his car, so that's probably not good for us. And if he hasn't gone to the pits, it might be like side pod damage or something, something that we can't fix. As we cross the start finish line, fastest lap of the Grand Prix, a 1:19.1, as we try to go around the outside of Norris. Bit of contact, luckily no front wing damage, but that contact did slow us down enough that it's now going to be hard to get this move done on Norris. Oh, we can't quite get it done. We're right next to him, but we're not going to try and make a move there. We'll just sit back. P11, so we're just one spot outside the points. It's only lap 26, there's still a few laps left. We've got time. We just need to be smart and not make any sort of rash moves. We've had some pretty good pace here today on these mediums, and it looks like Norris, I think some of the other top team drivers are on hards, so we should have the pace on them in terms of tyre compound. We just gotta play our cards right, just be smart here. So we're going to get DRS on Norris here. Tuck right in behind him, get that slipstream, and go around the outside, and we get past him relatively easily with plenty of room to spare. P10, we're up in the points now. Oh, a little bit of slide there. We managed to hold on to it, and we have managed to catch up to a bunch of the other top 10 drivers here. Luckily for us, Mazepin was actually holding them up, so they weren't able to get past them. That second sector of this track, not really a whole lot of places to overtake safely. So yeah, thankfully he got in front of them and slowed them down a bit. Gave us time to catch up.
But we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop. We're leading our teammate by 2.5 seconds.
Okay, so Schumacher now, we're actually 3 seconds ahead of him now. So there's definitely something wrong there for him to lose that much pace. But that's okay, we got to focus on getting further up the grid and getting more points. Because now we're going to see if we can make a move on Gasly here, beginning of lap 29, so 4 laps left, no, not 4, 5 laps left, sorry. Make the move on Gasly's stick. No slide this time through that first chicane. And now we're gaining on Russell. Verstappen is starting to pull away on those on his set of mediums. Russell's on mediums too, but that Alpine just doesn't quite have the pace that we have, or at least not on this track. So we're trying to make a move here up the inside, but he just holds us up that little bit. I don't know what happened there. We lost a little bit of traction there, a little bit of grip, and the car just didn't want to turn as much on the exit from that corner. And we ended up clipping Russell in the back tyre there, but luckily no front wing damage. We're getting really lucky with no front wing damage here in this race. But we've got another 3 laps to go. Anything could happen as we almost come in contact with Russell again there through that end of the lap chicane. But luckily we have the wherewithal to slam on the brakes a little bit to not clip the back of his car. We're just taking our time here, just picking them off one by one. To be right up behind him this time. His teammate Esteban Ocon up in front. He's playing very defensive here, all over the road trying to stop us, and he's doing a good job of it. But I feel like it's only a matter of time before we get an opportunity to pass. We do have the pace on him, and we're sticking pretty close to him. We're actually getting closer and closer to him every lap that we're behind him. So we just gotta pick our spots. Him getting DRS on his teammate. We try to go up the inside, but we think better of it. Too much risk there. He's getting DRS thanks to Ocon, which is helping him. But now Ocon's actually slowing him down. So this could be a good chance for us to pass coming up. We've got to get through the chicane cleanly. And we don't. We end up sliding. I think we end up having a bit of contact with Russell on that occasion. And now we've lost quite a bit of ground.
Ahead, but be aware that these tyres need to last till the end of the race.
Okay, so again, Jeff giving us the reminder that these tyres need to get us to the end as Russell tries to make a move on Ocon, and they slow.
Behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap.
They both slow each other down. We tried to get past Russell, but we just didn't have the room, and we had to run off the track to make sure we didn't clip his car. But these two Alpines are slowing each other down. Alright, now we're going to look at a move up here. We brake very late here next to Russell. He gives us the space, and we end up finally getting past him. Now we're up into P7.
There's 3 laps of fuel remaining.
So we've got plenty of fuel. There's no worries about fuel. The tyres are probably a bit worn. Jeff does keep reminding us that the tyres need to get to the end of the race, so we're obviously pushing the tyres a little bit harder than we needed to. As we've got plenty of pace on Ocon, who's on hards. We end up getting past him, but he can brake so late. But we have good exits out of the chicane, and we're going to go on the outside. We squeeze him to the inside of the track there, forcing him to slow down and let us go past. But he is still right behind us. Him and Russell both within a second of us. So the two Alpines looking to make moves as one of them tries to get up the inside. Ocon looking to take his position back, but he can't do it. Bottas crossing the finish line to take the win for Mercedes. So with Hamilton out, Mercedes still take this race thanks to Valtteri Bottas. We've still got to hold off Ocon and Russell, which we do heading around the final corner down to the checkered flag, and we cross the finish line. P6 back in the points.
And bring it home.
So good race from us. We managed to get back into the points after the disappointing 2-lap behind finish in the previous round.
They've done it then. A spectacular victory here in Spain and a massive confidence boost going into the next race. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
So there we have it, round 4 done and dusted, sorry. Valtteri Bottas taking first place for Mercedes. Sergio Perez finishing in second, so still claiming some points there for Red Bull. We end up finishing P6, so good finish from us. We did have the fastest lap for a little while, but then Bottas comes back a full 10th faster than us to take that back, so we don't get the point there. Schumacher dropping back to 11th. So he must have had some sort of issue with the car that was slowing him down, because he definitely had more pace than we did. We were following along with him for most of the race. It could have been a much better result if it wasn't for the issues that he had. But still a good result for us. So we jump back up into 8th position on the driver standings. We are still well behind Perez, who is still or has taken over the championship lead, or I think Lewis Hamilton was leading at the end of the last round. But we're moving back up. In terms of the constructor standings, Ferrari swaps with Alpine. They've moved up into 4th. We are still sitting in 6th, but we aren't too far behind McLaren. Like, 3rd place is still the goal. We're still able to do it. We're only 21 points behind. We can gain that back. I mean, it is only round 4. Plenty of time left in the season to get up there, as we're tied on points in the rivalry with Ricciardo. So a tight battle there between myself and the Aussie in the McLaren. But yeah, I felt like that race there was pretty good in terms of the difficulty. It wasn't really easy. I feel like the only reason we did so well was because we had the pace on those mediums. Or 25k in damage deductions for Schumacher, so there was definitely an issue with his car. Something went wrong there. If it wasn't for that issue, probably would have been a much better finish for him and the team. But that's okay. Things happen. We'll just take it in our stride and move forward as we prepare for round 5. Probably keep the difficulty the same now. I felt like that was a decent challenge, and I'm pretty much around where Schumacher is, so a good balance there for the two of us in the same car. So yeah, so there is the Spanish Grand Prix done and dusted. 6th place finish for us, so still in the points, which is good. I'm pretty happy with that. If you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like. Let me know in the comments what you thought. And if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. It would really help me out a lot, and I would appreciate it very, very much. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Round 5, Azerbaijan Grand Prix. A tough one, but a good one. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.